Hello, folks. Welcome to the very first episode of the Eldridge Monroe Horror Show. I am one of your co-hosts, Joe Monroe. Today is a fantastic and wonderful and uh, how can I say this? Day of celebration, because this is something that myself and my co-host, Mr. Eldridge, which we'll introduce him here in just a moment, will have been looking forward to for a long time. Now, let me go ahead. Let's introduce my other co-host of the evening. He is a man of many trades, jack of many trades, I should say. The man who knows everything from professional wrestling to horror. Wait, am I supposed to read this, Dave? He really wrote this down. Okay, whatever. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Eldridge Monroe Show. I'm Monroe, and here is Mr. Alex Eldridge. Alex, welcome, welcome. We're live.
Hello.
We finally did it. We have finally done it.
I know. I'm very excited here. Very excited. Very excited.
I can tell in your voice you're very excited. All right. So today, folks, we are going to talk about Scream 1996, the original Scream, which is going to be fun. Uh, so before we get into that, let me go ahead and let me shout out some sponsors real quick. First and foremost, we want to thank Phenomenal Finds ATL. If you're looking for anything retro, whether it be horror or wrestling, check out phenomenalfindsatl.com. As well as our friends and sponsors, Triple Crown Wrestling and Ultimate Championship Wrestling, as they are bringing back the sport of professional wrestling as it should be to the state of Kentucky, as well as our friends Charms Photos, Crystal, the lovely lady who takes photos at the wrestling shows. Is awesome. She even makes this ugly mug look pretty good. May have to ask her to do photos for this show as well as Les Murphy Painting. If you're having any issues with any painting needs, contact Les Murphy at 734-334-3702. And don't forget to go check out our sister shows, the No Sell Roundtable, where myself and a few other podcasts talk about various topics about professional wrestling. And speaking of professional wrestling, don't forget to go check out the History of Pro Wrestling, hosted by with myself. This week, we will not have an episode because we are doing a special No So Roundtable about the NWO. But enough talk about wrestling. It's Monday. You know what that means. It's horror. It's the horror show. So, as I stated earlier, we are going to talk about Scream 1996. Now, this is one film that I vaguely remember being my first, basically my introduction to the horror genre and kicking off my love for horror films. I mean, if you see, I redecorated the little studio I have here at the house into horror because I love it. Honestly, if it's up to me, I'll go get Halloween decorations out and decorate right now. Because after July, it's spooky season. I don't care what anybody says. It's spooky season. What do you think, Alex? Alex?
You know, Scream to me, man, has been so instrumental for me with horror genre. It was my entrance into horror genre. Um, it's one of those things that I've always loved, and I'm glad that it's still around and still so popular today.
Yeah, that's one thing. So, as I said, let's hear this.
What's your favorite scary movie?
And if I had to pick my favorite scary movie, it would absolutely be this one. So, this is going to be a great episode. So, the film was made in '96. What was the schematics? You sent me them yesterday. Let me get them pulled up here. Uh, looks like box office. The budget was anywhere between 14 million and 15 million, and it box office 173 million dollars, which is that's a big chunk of change considering this is mid '90s. That's huge. That's a block office hit. Uh, uh, Box office hit. I'm sorry. Um, and a lot of people probably didn't because Wes Craven at this point uh, didn't have that many good horror films. I mean, let's be honest. As they said in Scream at the beginning of the film, the first Nightmare on Elm Street was amazing. Then the sequel sucked, and I absolutely hated it. I hate. There's a few Nightmare on Elm Streets. We'll get into that in other episodes. But his films at this point wasn't that great. Wes Craven is still a household name in horror, no matter how many stinkers or how many hits he's had. Wes Craven is definitely on the Mount Rushmore for horror films. But with that, let's see. Dream Warriors is better than the original.
Shut up, Kyle. No one wants to hear you.
It was all right. It's all right. I've watched worse. I mean, I've watched. Never mind. I'll keep my mouth shut. But yeah, what do you think? Because you and I are both Wes Craven fans, and at this point, Alex, you know as well as I do that Kyle's just laughing. That he had some pretty big stinkers before Scream. Alex. Oh, good night, Irene.
All right, what are you saying? It keeps breaking out on me.
You need to get better internet, friend. What I was saying is Wes Craven at this point was, pulling out box office stinkers until Scream came out.
Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for the technical difficulties on my end. I don't know what exactly is going on.
I'm not sure why it's doing
of course,
that.
this is the very first show. This is, something that, we have to work out the kinks for and everything.
Yeah, you're getting a better. I'm going to probably move you to my studio if we keep doing this. But yeah, I'll take over here, AJ. Why you may have to go in and come back out real quick, buddy. But we'll continue on when you come in and out. I got it from here, buddy. You just exit out and click the link again. So what I was getting at is yes, Wes Craven did do The Fog, which is low key one of my personal favorite films. Alex will be right back after he gets his technical issue worked out. Of course, he's got a technical issue. First film, hey, first show, can't have a first show without technical issues. But Scream to me is kind of redefined the slasher genre. It was meta, and at points it did kind of make fun of itself. But I think it kind of revolutionized the genre itself, kind of gave it a little bit of a rebirth in a way. So let's go ahead and get Alex back in here and see what he thinks. Did you hear what I was saying about, basically Scream was redefine the genre itself?
Yeah, absolutely it did. There were some horror stinkers before 96. And I feel that Wes Craven, hit one out of the park with this. This is something that came out of nowhere. And of course, my dogs are in agreement. You could hear them, annoying little things. But they're in agreement with me on this. It's something that really reinvigorated the genre, and it's something that, again, is, like I said before, is talked about to this day. And the reason it's so big, it's so iconic, they couldn't ignore it. They had to make more.
Oh yeah, it turned into a box office franchise. Which for this show we're going to go by each film, discussing each film one at a time. So within the next 6 weeks, which we're going to have a bonus episode of 7, where we talk about fan theories. Hold on to that, Alex. You will hold on to the fan theories until episode 7. So relax. I know you want to, especially you and Kyle. I know you guys are debating. You guys need on comments already. We need to calm down. We'll focus on the theories and stuff. I got a whiteboard. We'll even use the whiteboard for that episode. All right.
Well, that fan theory is making you mad too. Before we even went on the show, you were getting on me about it.
You know what? We won't talk about that right now because we're going to get way ahead of ourselves. So we start off 96. Basically, can't wait for Scream 7. You know what? Neither can I. I think we got Nev Campbell coming back as Sidney Prescott, correct? Is that
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I don't know. I'm in complete disagreement with her, with them not giving her what she asked because she 100% deserves it. She was she's how can I say this? She's like, can I compare? She's like the Jamie Lee Curtis of her
Yes.
Scream franchise.
Thank you.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Thank you. Hey, Kyle, I hope you heard that.
Let's see. Scream was a nice nod to the original slashers while being its own thing. Yes. And going into that, it did have a lot of nods from Halloween, because you even hear a slow theme at the beginning of the film. Whenever Drew Barrymore's character is getting called by, me personally, I think it's Stu that was calling, and messing with her. My wife disagrees with me and says,
well,
it's silly,
I also disagree with you though.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's why. In the movie, after this happens, they're all sitting down there for lunch outside, which no one really does. I mean, you can tell it's a movie.
It's the 90s. Come on now.
Yeah.
There has to be a fountain somewhere.
It's very Buffy-esque type.
Did you hear what I said, Alex? There has to be a fountain in that scene too. Remember that?
Yes, of course there has to be. It's the 90s. Everything was done in front of a fountain. Wait, what?
Oh, whoa, hey, whoa. Try to keep it a little PG here, pal. PG. Anyways.
I apologize. But no, so in the 90s, that's pretty much what it was. Everything had a water fountain, Clueless, all of that stuff. So of course, it wouldn't be away from a horror film. But from that part, distinctly, Randy asked Stu, "Oh, where were you?" Tatum goes, "Oh, he was with me last night." So it wasn't Stu.
Who's to say he didn't sneak out though?
You do reference that he was with her that night, and they made a reference to what they were doing by the way he was speaking.
Hey, go Royals! It was Billy. Okay, fair.
It was Billy. It was Billy who sliced and diced. Sorry.
Don't ever do that again.
Sorry, I took one from Randy. Apologize.
No, you leave Randy out of this. But yeah.
Here we go.
But the film continues on. Cindy gets a call from the Ghostface killer himself, which we all know. I believe that is also Billy. And Billy ends up getting arrested that night because Dum Dum drops a cell phone. I got a question. If they had, hang on, let's see, hang on. But they never said what time they were together, even though Casey and Scott were killed around 10. I need time. Oh God! Now you got her started. But she brings up a good point because hang on. Let's go back to that. Let's go back to Casey and Scott because Stu has more of a motive with Casey and Scott than what Billy does. I mean, that's his ex, and that's the guy that she left him with. So if anybody has a strong motive, which motive is key once we get on with the film, I believe that first kill, because if you think about it, with Maureen's death, I think that was Billy. That was all Billy. Stu was just there. Even though it does hint it was both of them, that was all Billy. He had the strong motive, and I think he was the aggressor in that. I need to quit watching Criminal Minds. Thanks, honey. But same with Casey and Scott. That's why I think strongly that it's Stu because he has a very, very strong motive. Because let's be honest, I mean, he's crazy in the freaking head. Not crazy
well,
as Billy, but he's
well,
crazy. So
well,
he's going
you
to
are
take that
right.
heartbreak as a stressor, and then plan on the start of the killing spree. They just had to wait it out in the year.
And you are right. You are right, Joe. But the thing was, um, here's the thing about that. Maybe, okay, well, say it was still.
Mhm.
I mean, I could see it, but at the same time, he did say he had a motive. I'm not a motive, but he had an alibi, saying
Well,
that he
technically,
was.
so did Billy.
Yeah, but Billy's is a little. If you look now, here's the thing.
Because there's
I'm
no
one of those.
time.
I'm one of
There's
those
not a
people. Hold
time.
on, hold on. I'm one of those people that looks at everything in a film, especially a horror film. Notice the shoes. Those are the same shoes that Billy wore to Sydney's house that night. So it was Billy. Now, now I will say this. I think Stu had a hand in this, though.
You
I think
he was the caller?
yes, or he's the one that said, well, him and Billy were talking, hey, what do we do for the year anniversary? How do we go on? How do we do this? He says, well, why don't we start here? Why don't
Yeah,
we kill my ex?
yeah. Here's the thing with the Stu. I think that right there. I know a lot of people. Billy is like a super aggressor. He's a psychopath. We know that. But I think deep down, I think Stu's worse.
Yes.
Yeah, and I agree with Brittany here. What she's saying, I think Stu was the caller and Billy did the killing in the beginning. I think Stu after Marine because uh, I don't think Billy had really much of a motive except for probably mess with Sydney, with that
Yeah.
aggression. But I think Stu was secretly, you know, the puppet master pulling the string, which we'll end up knowing in 3. It was kind of God, we'll wait in a couple of weeks, folks. We'll get into that. It ended up being like Stu's brother or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think honestly, and this is why Stu's one of my favorites out of this franchise, actually out of horror in general. There's something else going on with the guy. I think, to be honest with you, he's one of those people that kind of plays you know, the dumb character and kind of fools everybody. But secretly, he's the guy pulling the strings. That's my take on Stu. But Sydney and him, she had we learned about her mom during towards that film when she first meets Ghostface, and of course the excuse me, the police station incident with Gail. That's when we kind of got to know Gail a little bit and kind of like her motives. He's a sociopath where Billy is a psychopath. Okay. That's fair. That's her. She's talking about Stu. But with we get to meet Gail, then of course later on at Tatum's house and Dewey's house, she gets a call from Ghostface. Which who do you think that was? Do you think that was Stu, or do you think that was Billy that did that one?
That called Sydney?
Yes.
See that's a tough one because my thing on that is that Billy is there.
Mm-hmm.
He shows up, hugging her, phone drops,
Mm-hmm.
and you're just like, oh shit, did this guy really call? Is he the one that did it? Is this really happening?
Mm-hmm. Then later on when he's in jail, did he really make that one phone call to call her?
Well, no, because he'd have to have the voice changer.
Who says he couldn't snuck one in?
I don't think
this is when we get to the big
yeah,
spider web of cute Charlie Day with the pegboard and strings and going over theories, this is when we get into that. So I personally think it was Stu because
Yeah,
my wife.
I think when he was in jail, I think it was Stu, but I think it was Billy before that because Billy
Yeah.
was there and he tried to kill her.
Because my wife pointed out while we were watching the movie today that she said something about it's impossible for me to call you. I was at the police station all night, and you notice his eyes kind of glance to Stu whenever he walks by, as if
Yep.
to kind of confirm that. And I said, I've never really noticed that. So if I don't catch anything, she does. But unless you're saying his dad was in on it, which I don't think Billy's dad was ever in on it because
No.
he's too big of a freaking idiot. But film moves on. We get to the school scene, and then is it just me? I know we're going to get more into like the characters and stuff. But like Henry Winkler, is he just freaking weird in this movie?
Yes.
Is he like the weird,
Yes.
the weird uncle that comes to visit at family reunions and like?
Yes.
creepy
It's
around
so
him?
bad. Like, and I'm a huge Henry Winkler guy. He's not made to be in horror films.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just.
But before we get into that, we see Sydney runs into Ghostface again in the girls' bathroom after she overhears some girls talking crap about her. Which, to be honest with
Then
you,
she runs out. Yeah.
Yep, and she runs out. Then we get Henry Winkler's kill, which I think's the most hilarious, the most hilarious thing ever.
Oh,
Even though cinematically, whenever you look in his eye and he sees Ghostface, that's probably one of my favorite camera shots out of the film. That right there, because you look into his eyes and then you see like Ghostface's mask and the knife lift up. That right there, chef's kiss. That right there was perfect. Let's see. Yes.
What
he goes
about Wes Craven's
cameo as Freddy the janitor?
little cameo? Yeah.
Well, that's not the only cameo he made. So at the beginning of the episode, the beginning of the movie, whenever she punches Ghostface after Casey breaks the window, when she still has the phone when she's about to run off, that was actually Wes Craven in the Ghostface costume. She had literally knocked out Wes Craven, and he said, "It's all good. We got it on film." But let's see. Libby says yes. It goes from pervy principal to crazy guy who's threatening students to being just a silly goose playing with the mask. Like his character,
pretty much.
Yeah, we'll do a deep dive in characters in just a moment. But there's his kill. Then we see Ghostface as he's watching Tatum and them in the grocery store. Then we found out from Dewey and the sheriff that all those phone calls was coming from Sydney's dad's cell phone. So he's prime suspect number one, which, there is a stressor where his wife's death anniversary is coming up. He's had to raise Sydney on his life, who's a moody teenager, and, he's finally snapped, which, to be honest with you, that's not a bad cover up. That really is not.
No.
That happens. But as we continue on, the house party, we get, Tatum's death. Then we move on. We get probably the my favorite scene of all time is Randy going over the rules of the horror.
Yes.
What's rule one? What's rule one, AJ? Come on, let's see.
Oh, jeez. Let's see. I just watched this today too.
Rule one: you may never ever have sex.
Yes.
Rule two: no
big
drinking.
No.
Big no. Rule two: no drinking or drugging. It's the sin effect. It's the sin effect. And rule three: never ever say "I'll be right back."
Because you won't be back.
Hey. Shut up. Justice for Kirby. Oh, good night, Irene.
Who said that?
Kyle. Kirby did it better than I. Well, actually,
Oh, jeez.
You know, it's kind of a tie. Kirby's one of my favorite characters too, but
We're waiting till episode
we'll
7
wait.
to do
We'll
that.
wait.
Where Kyle's gonna cry
I love
on the
when Stu said,
keyboard.
"I'll be right back." Oh, bunch of drunk teenagers. That's what you get. But you know, there's the CCTV camera. Which, okay, I know they're a bunch of drunk teenagers, but even a drunk me will notice a freaking camera sitting right there with the freaking VCR. But what's this? It's a camera. Ooh, and get out and play with it or something. Like that's like the most obvious. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
Really?
that to me was just like, why are we doing this? What?
Really? But we
Set it up somewhere else.
right. But we get it, understanding there's like a 30-second delay. I believe that's the time for it. And that plays on a little bit later. But of course, everybody's starting to leave. Sydney's waiting on Tatum, but of course she's, hanging on the dream there in the garage. But
yeah. But, she's living on a prayer.
Yeah. But Billy comes, and of course, the whole blah blah. And I love what Randy says. What's Leatherface doing here? I just what's Leatherface doing here? Oh, they came to make up. Man, there goes my shot with Sid. And
then him and Sid go up and talk, and
and all that
parents' bedroom,
and all that crap, So, but while that's happening, they get a call. There's a suspicious car, which we come to find out before they get run over by teenagers that it's Sid's dad's car, which raises even more suspension. But the reason why the kids left was because they found the principal's body
hung up on a field goal post.
Hung up on a freaking field goal post, gutted. And it's like, really, we couldn't have seen that because you give us a stupid character,
right?
And we can't even see this. Okay, well, whatever.
I mean, we saw Drew Barrymore's, and she's only in the film for 2 minutes.
Yeah. So what's the difference? I guess Henry Winkler. Moment of silence for Kevin Smith. Stu his head. What? Oh yeah, the cameraman. What's that guy? I can't.
It's not Kevin Smith, but
he's a wannabe Kevin Smith. But yeah, he sliced his throat, and But I want to know how Stu picked him a dead weight, picked him up, and put him on the van, on top of the freaking van.
Right.
Yeah,
but we're missing. But we're missing a piece here. The reason that happened is because Stu shot Billy. Well, not shot him, but stabbed him.
He stabbed Billy after the lovemaking scene. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah, and then she ran.
Yep,
fell off. She runs to the guy, and then they see the thing with Randy in the ghost face, and he goes, "Oh crap, we're on a 30-second delay." Then he turns back around and.
Yeah, but seriously, what did Billy do? Just quickly, oh man, that's dead weight right there. Let me go out there. Okay, let me go back in the house. Let me go back upstairs. There's no freaking way. I'm sorry.
No.
That logic that bugs me. That bugs me right there. But we find Gale and them come back, and poor Dewey, Dewey.
Oh, Dewey.
Poor Dewey. And Gale tries to take off. Then we see the blood on the car. She hits Randy with a freaking what was it? A phone that she hits him in the face with.
Yeah. She hits him in the face with a phone. And then she starts to go in. And she sees the blood, and she thinks it's fog. She thinks it's on the windshield. She turns on the heat. Then she realizes, oh,
it's blood.
It's blood.
And then it's her cameraman.
Windshield wiper. And the next thing you know, he starts falling. She's like, I'm sorry, but get the F off my van.
And then he crashes through a freaking fence. And she crashes into a freaking tree. Then we get the scene which Libby put up here, and she said, "I'm sorry." Throwing Randy to the wolves, shutting the door in his face, just proves Sydney he didn't have a shot to begin with. Which is a good point because here comes Randy saying it was Stu, which he's right. Then Stu's like, "No, it was him. It was him." And Sydney said,
"She closed the door
and closed the door." I was like, "Well, no, he didn't. He really didn't have a." Shot there.
No, and then next thing you know,
No, God,
Well,
no, it is not Kevin Smith.
No. But next thing you know, though, Randy gets in the house and
Nope.
he goes,
Wait, you're forgetting something. Billy comes stumbling down the
oh yeah,
stairs.
Billy. Yep, Billy comes stumbling and he takes the gun from her,
Yep.
trying to tell her, "Oh, it's okay." Then Randy comes in and goes, "Hey, Stu's gone crazy." And then Billy goes, "We all go a little crazy sometimes." Bow, and I'm like, "Oh,
Now I love I love Randy's face. He's like, oh, like
yeah,
I knew it. Boom, I'm shot. Again, poor Randy. But then there's the reveal. It's Billy and Stu, and Billy gives his motive because his dad slept with Sid's mom, and that's why that's why Billy's mother left. We'll get
yes,
into that joke next week.
yeah."
But
Didn't see
that's his
that coming
motive.
now, did you?
Yeah, God Almighty. I'm probably gonna watch it after this episode, but
I am too.
But with that, we get the motives. Then them idiots stab each other, during this, as when I think we kind of see the reveal of Stu kind of being the puppet master, because his attitude changes from being the dumb sidekick, especially
Yep.
after Billy stabs him, to be like, oh, okay, well, here we go, boom. It just showed like. And this is why I think Matthew Lillard is probably one of the most underrated actors out there, because his attitude completely changed. And I think we got a glimpse of how Stu really is, just like, okay, and just stabs him. And another question, I think Billy got the hint that Stu was ready to kill him, but Stu had to go with the knife because Billy had the freaking gun.
Yep.
And then, of course, he gets stabbed multiple times, and
Sydney's
Billy only gets stabbed that once. That always bugged me. Then they reveal, before that, they had Sid's dad's hostage just to frame him for the murders and stuff.
Yep.
And then they get interrupted by Gail, who gets knocked out and laid beside Dewey. God.
And no. Remember? And Billy asked Stu, "I thought you said she was dead." He's like, "Well, she looked it."
Yeah. So there's that. I
then
honestly never mind. We'll get in that fan theory on episode 7.
Then Sid takes the voice changer and starts talking to him.
Yeah.
And then she goes, "Guess you just called the cops." I'm like, "Uh-oh."
Then we get the famous lines from
Oh, please let me say it. Please let me say it.
No, hang on. So, what's your motive? Peer pressure. I'm too sensitive.
No, you didn't do it right.
No, you do it. You do it then.
Okay. Oh, Stu, what's your motive? Billy's got one. What's yours? Peer pressure. I'm far too sensitive to do things like.
And then, as he's explaining that, Billy takes the freaking phone,
then smacks him with it. You hit me with the phone, dick.
That was an improvised line that Wes Craven put in there. Yes. And so is the next line. My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me.
Oh, that actually that wasn't from Wes Craven, that part. So Wes Craven told Matthew Lillard, like, "Hey,
do what you want here.
Do what you want." And he's just like, as soon as the camera started, I was just like, "Mom and Dad, I'm in their house. I'm killing people."
Yeah. So yeah, man, we're let's see. I think I got somebody I think it's Benny trying to call me there. But Benny, if you're watching, give me just a moment, buddy. But with everything that's going on, Stu ends up passing out, supposedly. Sid stabs Billy with a freaking umbrella. God,
yep.
I know what's worse, a knife or an umbrella.
Ugh.
Then Stu actually just got a shot of adrenaline, I guess. Then supposedly gets killed by a TV. I have a problem with that, but
a lot of people do.
Yeah. So let's see. For all the planning they did to kidnap his dad and the framing and blah blah blah, they were idiots not to watch Sydney while they were distracted by Gail. Yeah, I agree with you.
This is true.
Let's see. He's not dead. No, I agree with you. He's not. I'm part of the Stu's not dead movement too.
Thank you.
So with that being said, if that is weird. Hang on. Sorry about that. We'll be discussing more of the films, and of course, Randy wakes up just in time after Billy gets shot by Gail, and they go over to Billy's body. He said the killer always comes back for one last scare, and he does this like stupid little jump scare, and then Sydney shoots him in the freaking head. And we end it with Gail with the new camera guy and boom mic. Where was the boom mic person the whole freaking time?
I have no idea.
Because she got a boom mic person and everything. Then the film ends. And well, not really. We get a little bit of a cut scene of
Yep.
Ghostface, which is great. Looks like we're getting of he's not dead, he is dead, he's not dead. Looks like Colin and Brittany's going at it. We may need a ref out here. But yeah, so before there's the rundown of the movie. So we got some questions here. Who's the most overrated character in this first Scream film? Who was the most overrated? AJ, who do you think?
Most overrated. Man, I know we talked about this last night, and I'm gonna have to say Tatum.
I would have to agree with you on that one.
I just think that she was just put there for
Libby says
a pointless
Sydney.
reason. Okay. No.
If we
Come
bring
on
back
now.
Stu, it's what the heck? If we bring back Stu, it's like a Firefly Funhouse episode. You can't make sense in illogical world. What the heck, bruh?
Kyle doesn't know what he's talking about. He's just mad because a certain person he likes may be the killer. So
Okay.
we're
Next
gonna
question.
leave that alone.
Next question: who could have been Ghostface? Who could have been Ghostface? Aside from Stu and Billy, who could have been Ghostface? Who do you think would have had a motive?
Dewey.
I have to agree. I'm not saying this because she's my wife. I'm saying this because I have to agree with her. Randy.
Well, my thing is Dewey because he could get away with a lot of stuff. He works for the police department. He's a deputy and soon became the sheriff. So my thing is, I don't know, we're not talking about Scream 4 tonight, but still, my thing is that he would have the perfect alibi for everything.
No, good point.
And they would not question him one bit.
No, you got a good point. I have to go Randy, because I mean jealousy, to be honest with you, and he's watched way too many horror movies. But then again, I think Randy is also the unsung hero, which kind of gets into my next question: who is the best character out of Scream 1? Who is the best character? Forget you, Randy.
Wrong answer.
No, Randy. Randy and Stu's a tie, but I gotta give it up for my man Randy because I love Randy. Sydney's father is what Kyle was saying. Oh, I mean, poor Sap.
The best character for me,
Stu
would have to be like my daughter just said.
Cody Sims, hey brother, how you doing? Stu.
I would have to go with Stu, and here's why. Stu was very dynamic the whole film on. Like you said earlier, he had that stupid complex. We don't know what he's doing. He can't be a killer. There's no way. Then once he has that voice changer in his hands, and he says, "Surprise, Sydney," you see a brand new Stu, and you're just like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah,
like this guy's actually insane.
which comes with the acting from Matthew Lillard, who I think is still, again, underrated actor. Hopefully, we get to interview him at Scarefest. Please, for the love of God, let that happen.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
But
speaking of Scarefest, ladies and
please go
gentlemen, don't forget Scarefest is October 18th through the 20th in Lexington, Kentucky at Central Bank Center.
all premium tickets are sold out. 3-day tickets are going quick, so they're about to be sold out soon. I can speak from experience. Each year I run into that problem, but they do have individual day tickets, so please be sure to go to Scarefest, or you got to look up at Scarefest Lexington, and on like the Google or the Bing or whatever your search engine is, and you'll be able to find it. They got great guests. AJ has talked me into getting a tattoo there because there's going to be a little tattoo parlor.
Whoa. Do not get me in trouble with your wife. No.
Hey, Benny, how's it going, buddy? I'll give you a call back here in just a moment. I know you just called me. He said, Alex scares me. Alex scares... He scares everybody. But yeah, the best character I personally think is Randy. That's my dude.
Of course
okay?
you do.
Yeah. But so let's go on to
him if you could.
Let's go on to connect the next question. Was this Wes Craven at his best? Was this Wes Craven at his best directing? Because you got to think he was already a big part of the franchise with the Nightmare on Elm Street series and a few others. But he kind of made this film meta to that and also redefined it. So to me, I wouldn't say it's his absolute best, but it's one of his best.
Well, here's the thing. When this came out, a lot of people were starting to doubt Wes Craven.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
once
look at Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Yeah. So a lot of people were starting to doubt him and starting to doubt if he could do anything else to make himself, back in the mainstream again and relevant. And Scream came along and it was absolutely perfect. People started talking great about him again. Everybody gave him high praise like they used to when Nightmare on Elm Street first started. He just had some clunkers for a few years, and that happens to a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people that are in Scream that we'll talk about later down the line that haven't really done much since that or since then. And they live off of the Scream name, which I would too. But the issue is here with Wes Craven, God rest his soul, that he gave us something that we can still talk about to this very day that is still huge in mainstream media, and that is Scream.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that one, my friend. And I think everybody in the comments section is in agreement with you. So rolling on with that, what made Scream different? What made that first movie different from others? To me, what made it different is, in a way, it kind of made fun of itself, and it's all, it was a slasher genre. It made fun of itself.
Yes.
But it redefined it. It's like, okay, we understand the tropes and the rules of it. What can happen in like a real life scenario where a moody sociopath or psychopathic teenager sees so many horror films that they're like, hey, I want to try this myself. Because you got to think, at this time, this is 96. This is when we had serial killers coming out the wazoo.
Yes.
So that right there, it's really good. I think it redefined it just right there.
Yeah, and it really did. And I think the story had meaning. It wasn't like.
Hang on. Kyle said The Hills Have Eyes is Wes's best movie. You know what? One of them. I agree with Kyle. It was, but continue.
Yeah, Kyle, shut up for a second. But my thing on this is that it had a story. It had a great story. It intertwined the stars with what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And you really hadn't seen that because Halloween was starting to go away from the Laurie Strode story.
Yeah.
They were starting to go away from it in the mid-90s, and they went back to it because they knew it wasn't working. But
Yeah.
at that time, there wasn't really a story. And then here came Scream. The motive is your mom had slept with my father, ruined my parents' marriage. My mom is gone, so I killed your mom. Now I'm going to kill you.
And it's a stressor known for like a normal serial killer. That would be an exact what the BAU would call a stressor that to make someone snap, and for someone to be um, still like a teenager at that age, you just lost your mother figure, but your dad, his dad acted like he didn't really care about him. To be honest with you, that's how I took his dad's
Yeah.
character. That would make him go crazy. Let's see. It's not much is there's a serial killers coming otherwise, but you had more killers blaming watching horror movies, just like Stu and Billy did, which is true at
Yep.
this point in time. This mid 90s, going forward, they blamed it on movies, which
Yep.
we'll discuss with Stream 3 in a couple of weeks when we get to that.
Yes.
So speaking, let's go look at it as a whole for society. Do you think it had a negative impact on society?
I mean,
When it comes to something
to
like
a
that,
point,
do you think it fueled a drive for that young adolescent wannabe, hey, I should try this out? Kind of like what Billy and Stu did, but more probably Stu than Billy, because Billy had a really good motive.
yeah.
I wouldn't say really good, but a stronger motive. There we go. We'll say it like that.
I mean, I think it did, just like the original Halloween did.
Mhm.
I feel like people thought, oh, I'm gonna buy the costume and I'll be invincible. Turned out that wasn't the case. You
Right.
got caught, and there's that. But I think it had a negative and a positive impact. I think the positive impact was showing the resilience of Sydney and
Mhm.
how women can fight. I think that was a positive outcome of the film, because Sydney fought tooth and nail and she
Mhm.
came out on top.
Yeah, that's
So I
exactly
think it
right.
had a positive and negative.
Okay, I can see that. I can see it being positive and negative at the same time. Negative because you got to think everybody wanted to have the voice changer and the costume, and
Yep.
it's the same thing with the whole freaking clown thing that happened in the mid 2010s. God, that was so
Yeah.
stupid. But you had that
Yeah.
going on even when growing up in elementary school. There was Ghostface, and I believe my school banded that costume for good reason. But
Yep. Mine did. Yep. Mine
Laurie
did
Strode had
too.
already proved that. But I think I think Sydney kind of fueled that a little more. Uh, but excuse me. But the positive impact is basically what you said, and I think for like horror fans such as us, it redefined a franchise. It gave it some new breath that it desperately needed.
Yes.
And box office, I mean, I gave this, the money again. It went way over than what it cost. So much that the next year we would get the sequel
Yes.
because the writer already had the first three in mind on what he wanted to do. So next week we will talk about Scream 2 for episode number 2. Now, let's see. Sorry, James Kendrick. Hey, James, how you doing, buddy? Sorry, but the original Last House on the Left is Wes Craven at his best, in my opinion. That I agree with you. That's one of his best. Let's see. The remake of Last House on the Left is pretty good, right up there with the original, is what Kyle said. This is also saying, going on this, no, it didn't. How many people dressed up as Ghostface replicating anything from the movies? None. It was just a lot of pranks going on, and that's about the only personal negative impact I could think of. But then again, we have to go back and think of at this point, after these films come out, people were blaming films such as this for motives, especially like teens and everything.
Yep.
So there's that. But folks, this has been a great first episode. Thank you all who have joined us live here on Facebook. We will be streaming this next day on YouTube. So if you can go subscribe to the Joe Monroe Show YouTube channel, go like and follow the Joe Monroe Show Facebook page, which we're streaming on live right now. For those of you who have stuck with me, thank you so much. And Alex, thank you so much for recommending the show, bringing it under the Joe Monroe
I
Show
mean,
banner.
3 years we've been talking about this, Joe.
Yeah, 3 freaking years. I know, right? And you know what? You know what's funny? I didn't realize this until I was looking on my Facebook page. 1 year makes where I kind of started this, so the year anniversary starts that. So this was a pretty good start for the horror episode and for the horror show itself. So it's pretty good. Okay, in kiss butt. But yeah, I'm excited to see you all next week. I will be back Wednesday, where I'm going to be going over the Triple Crown Wrestling Ultimate Championship Wrestling recap. And Alex will be back with me Friday, where we're doing the No Sell Roundtable, where we're going to be
Yes.
talking about the New World Order. So be sure to check those out this week. That's what we got coming out this week. And we will be back here for the Eldridge Monroe Horror Show next Monday, 7 o'clock p.m. And we're going to talk about Scream 2. Until next time, folks, I'm Joe Monroe.
I am Alex Eldridge. And remember, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget, October 18th to the 20th, Scarefest 16, Lexington. VIPs are sold out. Weekends are almost gone. 1-day tickets are still available. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to miss this show. It's going to be incredible.
And if you want to run into us, we will be there as media running around with the camera and like chickens with our heads cuts off. But
Yep.
but until next week, folks, I am Joe Monroe, and this has been the Eldridge Monroe Horror Show. Dave, go ahead and take us out with the new intro.
Adios.
See you all.
Right.